welcome to week 14 of American Literature. This is our last week of lecture before our final week. This week you have light reading. You're just reading the biography section on Louisa May Alcott, found on 1725, and you're going to read the section from Little Women called Literary Lessons. You'll also be focusing on a poem by Emily Dickinson that's listed in later in this lecture. Next week is our final. It will be a timed final, and I will talk in more detail about it towards the end of this lecture. So this week we're looking at the life. The last person we're going to look at this week is Louisa May Alcott. She lived from 1832 to 1888. So she was a contemporary of Rebecca Harding Davis, who we studied last week. She's most famously known for writing Little Women and all of the Little Women's spin-off books. For a time, her father moved their family to live at Fruitlands, which was a utopian agrarian commune that was established in Harvard, Massachusetts by her father and by Charles Lane in the 1840s. That was based on transcendentalist principles. Her father was friends with Emerson. Her father had a real problem with her sense of independence, and you see her writing a lot about independent women in her writing, and also writing about the realities of women's lives, which wasn't very mainstream during that time. During the Civil War, she was really frustrated that she couldn't fight as a soldier, and so she enlisted as a nurse and worked in Washington, D.C., and she wrote a piece that is in our book called My Contraband, but we aren't reading it. You can if you'd like. If you want some extra stuff to read. But it is something, it's a great piece about interracial marriage or interracial affairs. She also published, in addition to all of her her writing, her mainstream writing, she also published under the name A.M. Barnard. She never married and devoted her life to her writing career. So this week, after reading the selection from Little Women, Literary Lessons, I'd like you to participate in this week's discussion. The question is, toward the end of Literary Lessons, we learn about Jo's reactions to the reviews that her work was receiving in the popular press. Authors tend not to refer to the reception of their work in literary texts themselves, preferring to maintain an aura that a work of fiction is a self-contained, imaginative world beyond the petty concerns of the marketplace. Nevertheless, several antebellum writers incorporate the business side of creative writing into the narrative and lyric flow of their work. Emily Dickinson's poem, 788, Publication is the Auction, reflects on the relationship between creativity and the market for poetry. And it's really interesting because we know that during her lifetime, Emily Dickinson published very few of her poems. How does Alcott's treatment of the publishing world compare with that of Dickinson? Why would these two authors break the fourth wall, as it were, to discuss the publishing industry in their creative works? Does doing so detract from the fictional worlds they've created, or do these authors make concerns about publishing organic to the lives of their characters? This week, when you post your response, please make sure you include quotations from both of the texts. Also, your response should be at least 250 words, and your responses to your peers' posts should also be, and there should be at least 3 of them, should also be 250 words. So I'm going to read 788 to you aloud. Publication is the auction of the mind of man. Poverty be justifying for so foul a thing. Possibly, but we would rather from our garret go, white unto the white Creator, than invest our snow. Thought belonged to him who gave it, then to him who bare its corporeal illustration. sell the royal heir. In the parcel be the merchant of the heavenly grace, but reduce no human spirit to disgrace of price. Alright guys, last thing I want to talk about this week is how to prepare for the final. Just so you know, when you log on next week, you will not receive a lecture. All you will see is a test. In order to prepare for it, you need to review all of the past lectures that I've created for you over the last 14 weeks. You need to review the texts that we've read. Hopefully you took notes on them so you have information to look back on. You need to be prepared to write about all of them and to be able to use quotations from each of them for the answers that you write. The test will be timed, and you will have the entire week to complete the test. But once you start your test, you will only have a certain amount of time to finish it. So, based on if you have, I don't know the exact length of the test yet. It will vary based on the questions I take in or out because of the because of the fires. So, based on that, say the test is 2 hours. You can take it any time during next week, but when you start it, you will only have 2 hours to finish it. So you want to make sure you have a block of time to work on your final uninterrupted. Alright, that's it for this week. If you have questions, please email me or stop by my office hours on Tuesday and Thursday from 11:30 to 12:30. See you online.